I don't even know where to begin with this. Alright, here's a bit of context. So, for the people who don't watch me or who haven't seen any of my recent videos, I'm doing this series where I'm testing out a bunch of Linux distros and wanting to compare performance between the two. And the pick, the one I was supposed to do this week was Linux Mint. And already it's a miracle that I actually went with it and decided, alright, let's do it. But, oh, I wasted an entire day for it to just, it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. Okay, so here's how it starts off. I want to partition my drive, right? And I did that, and I'm happy I did it. I know how to now. It's fantastic. That process was long because it was already my first time. It was my first time doing it, so it was a bit more complicated than maybe for some other people. So as I do these partitions and stuff, well, actually before, I tried installing the Mint ISO. I tried booting into the live environment, and it doesn't detect the kernel. It's a live USB, dude. What? I tried another time. It's stupid. I reinstall the ISO, but instead of putting it in Ventoy, I just flash Mint directly into my drive with Balena Etcher. Maybe Ventoy was the problem. Same issue. And then I tried reinstalling two different versions of it. Well, not two different versions, but from different mirrors. Maybe the mirror I installed it from was bad. The first time I tried a different mirror, same problem. Second time, then it worked. I had to reinstall the Mint ISO 4 times before one worked. For what is supposed to be the ultimate beginner-friendly distro, not off to a great start. But look, we don't give up. We're there for a reason. We're there to document it, okay? I boot into it, and in the live environment, I guess, I do the partitions. So I partition it in a way where I have my main partition for my main operating system, like Arch Linux, as you guys see here. Or maybe not, I don't know if my face is blocking here, but whatever. Main partition for Arch Linux for the setup I want to keep for a long time. A second partition for whatever operating system or distribution rather I'm trying for that week. In this case, Linux Mint. And then a third partition for just games, so that I don't have to reinstall the games per distribution. And that part went well. It took more time because I had to understand how it worked, but it went well. I wanted to do it so that Arch's grub would be the main grub, and that Mint would be listed in grub when I boot in. So I select no bootloader in the choices after whatever. So then when it's finished installing and it installs into the partition I wanted, what happens? When I try to boot into Arch, kernel panic. Oh, crap. And it was the first time I saw this kind of kernel panic. It was like a blue screen with like this huge like QR code looking thing, and it didn't scare me. I'm at that point where these kinds of things don't scare me because I'm aware that there's always a fix to these things. And I didn't want to just reinstall Arch, because I already reinstalled Arch today, because I realized that I installed Arch in XFS and that you can't shrink a partition when it's in XFS. So I had to reinstall Arch in Btrfs. But that's fine. But because of that, I was like, no, I am fixing this issue. I'm going to make it work. I'm going to make it find the right path so that it boots into Arch properly. And I think it took me 2.5 hours of looking it up, rebuilding grub, or mounting a bunch of things, etc. I could have used AI and probably do it in 20 minutes, but I'm trying to use it the least I can, but I'm kind of regretting that decision. But it ended up working. I could boot into Arch, and after redoing the grub config, or refreshing it, I guess. I don't know what the right word for this is. Then Mint was listed. Let's frickin' go. Maybe I can actually start preparing for the next video now. Now this was not fun. It actually starts off well, right? Mint, Cinnamon desktop. I don't like it, but I'm gonna use it, and I'm going to be as fair as I can. I install my browser, Zen browser this case, so for the people who bully me for using Edge, you have no excuse anymore. I switched. I install the browser, I install Steam, Discord, OBS, etc. The most amount of things that I thought of that I usually use daily here, right? And I don't know which one did it, but one of the installs made Cinnamon just delete itself. I installed something, and then after that, you couldn't find system settings. Oh, you can't go into panel edit mode. What? And then all of a sudden, it logs me out. And then when I try to boot in, it can't find the Cinnamon session. Yes, that's right. I pulled a Linus Tech Tips. And that's the beginner-friendly experience. Okay. But that's fine. I'm getting way more used to Linux now. I don't panic with these things anymore. TTY, install Cinnamon, and Cinnamon session, and whatever it was afterwards. Okay, we're back to normal. We're good. For some reason, it just deleted it. I was so close to having a usable desktop already that I was like, oh, this is going to be in the lowest tier it can be. I try installing DaVinci. Installing DaVinci, perfect. But when it came to drivers, it could not detect my AMD GPU. And no matter what I did, how I installed drivers, which ones I installed, it would never detect anything, and I could not use DaVinci. It downloads quick and successfully, but will not work with my GPU, a 7900 XTX, which is stupid. Not to mention that package names on APT, especially on Mint, since it's 3 years outdated, is stupid. Every time I try to install something couldn't find the package. So I had to go on a browser and download the deb package of it, or install some weird repository that lets me install. It's just, I can't understand how people still recommend it today when it is, I'm not even exaggerating here, at least 5 times harder than Arch Linux. At least for me. Now, for the people who are going to comment and go, oh, my Linux Mint works perfectly, my Linux Mint works perfectly, you just skill issue. But that's the thing. How am I having a skill issue with Linux Mint, the one that is supposed to be beginner friendly, but I'm having a much more amazing time on Arch? It's unacceptable, and I will never be recommending it again or using it again. And it is not Linux, just Linux Mint. It is all of its associates. Ubuntu, Zorin OS, Kubuntu, Lubuntu, whatever that is associated with Ubuntu, nada. Never touching again. They could do anything, and it's not going to happen. So yeah, I gave up today. And what time is it now? It's 11 at night. I started doing this at 7 in the morning. So sorry, 14 hours on this? Nuh-uh. I get that a lot of it was because of partitioning, but most of the issues were Linux Mint itself. So hate my take on it however you want. You can whatever. It's horrible, okay? F tier. Now it didn't save, so here's the refresh, okay? Arch Linux is A tier. Cache is A tier. Mint is Mint. It's Mint tier. And I'll let you guess what that means. Alright, I'm tired. I need to figure out how to make DaVinci working. Here, because unironically, it's also not working on Arch for me, but that's because not because of a driver issue, but because of glib and Pango being too new on Arch for DaVinci. See? That's nice. A system is too new. But I know how to fix that, whereas on Mint, there is no fix. And when there is no fix in Linux, it's garbage. Alright. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. And I'm sorry I did not do that Truman reference I'm sorry I didn't do that Truman reference at the end. Good night.